Welcome in, everybody. It is Game Time presented by State Farm here on NBA TV. Glad to have you with us. Earl Watson right there, the Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas. I'm Matt Weiner. How about the Memphis Grizzlies? Zeke said he liked the Grizzlies before the tip in San Francisco, and they lived up to your prediction and their hopes, winning on the road to earn themselves a playoff spot.
Yeah, Matt, I always said I looked at this Grizzlies team throughout the course of the season. This is a mentally tough, defensive-minded team. And not only are they, tough defensively, but then offensively, you got Ja Morant who can explode and have big games. And I always thought that, when I watched him play, even in Earl and I was talking about it in Trae Young, these are guys that can live up to the big moment in terms of this next generation of guards. You got Steph Curry, you got, Kyrie Irving, and the next generation is Ja Morant and Trae Young. And I'm looking at Ja and I'm like, what he's doing is pretty special. And I love the way he plays. I love the way he competes. And the challenge that he took on tonight against Curry, played him evenly, but Memphis defensively was just too good, I thought, for Golden State tonight, forcing, I think they forced, 22 turnovers?
20, I've got 21, but yeah, 21 a lot of turnovers. Second straight game for the Warriors. They've had 20 or more turnovers.
7 for Curry.
Yeah.
And 6 for Draymond Green. The two best ball handlers that they have out on the floor handling the ball the most. Memphis turned those two guys over a lot, which gave them opportunities.
That's been their Achilles heel, of course, over the years, as great as they've been. And for Ja Morant, we saw in the game on Sunday how much space they gave him to shoot the three. He's about a 30% three-point shooter. Well, he answered. He knew it was coming, and he knocked down those shots, and that really changed a lot for them offensively, Earl.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anytime you start the game that way, you got to think about it, Zeke. Players they just finished their warm-up. So you let them walk into their warm-up shots that they thought would come later in the game, and he was ready for that opportunity to shoot beyond the arc. But he has the grit and grind with the skill, which is unique. And you said they forced 21 turnovers and they had 14 steals, which led to +3 beyond the arc and +6 at the free throw line. And you watch this space, he's a pro, he's a superstar, he's elite, and he's developing. You cannot give him that confidence early. That is too far under. I would rather pick him up, make him play faster, give him no time to think. And once he got into his rhythm, he was confident all night.
Yeah, these are, as you said, these are warm-up jump shots. And these are the shots that you practice in the summer when nobody's around. And these, in the play-in games, these are the shots that you were getting and being forced to take. But you're looking at it with no pressure, saying, I got time, I can follow through, I can get my feet together. So, when you look at Morant shooting 50% from the three-point line tonight, it's a great job by him.
Here's his shot chart presented by Mountain Dew. Not only 50% from three-point range, but the 5 made threes are a career high for Ja Morant.
Yeah, and that just lets you know that he's constantly getting in the lane, putting pressure on the defense, drawing the defense, kicking out, making his teammates better. But when forced to shoot and forced to score, he's very capable of scoring the basketball, Earl.
And he's sticking his landing. If you watch games where players get into him and force him to shoot threes, his landing is kind of off balance. When you give him that much space, he's sticking his landing. Similar to, Mike's last shot in Utah, you tell young players, stick your landing, control your core when you land, and he's did that in those 5 threes, and he took advantage of the opportunities.
For the Warriors all season long, it's been a battle. What can Steph do versus what can his teammates do? What can the supporting cast do in terms of scoring the ball? And the answer tonight was not very much as far as the supporting cast went. Steph didn't have his best shooting night, of course, 13 of 28, but he scored 39. You can reasonably hope to win a game if your star scores 39. They just couldn't get much else from anybody.
I think they did a great job in the second half of playing his top shoulder and throughout the game. They forced him to go away from the flares, away from the screens. He had to move and fight and swing players off of him just to come off the screens, off the ball. And I think when you put a bigger guard on him, like right there, Brooks, it's difficult. He's strong, he's motivated, and make him finish in the paint. And Kyle Anderson, I coached him in the G League, Zeke.
What school he go to?
UCLA.
My fault.
You know what it is? He has one of the best basketball IQs, and to play that slow and to not have athleticism, his IQ has to be high. So he took advantage of these opportunities. I guarantee he was quarterbacking in the huddles.
Yeah, a lot of face guarding for Dillon Brooks. A thing that sort of seems obvious to me with teams that really rely on one star, especially like the Warriors without Klay Thompson on the floor, is try to keep him from getting the ball as much as possible and make him work to get it. There was a whole lot of that tonight, including that late possession at the end of regulation where they sent two guys at him and said, "You're not going to beat us.
Yeah.
We may lose, but it's not going to be you."
Yeah, and they double teamed him most of the night. As Coach said, they played on his high side, forced him to drive. But at the end of the day, he ends up with 39. He gets his shots. He plays a good basketball game. And you can't be mad at Steph Curry at all.
No, that's a fair assessment. Memphis moves forward to take on the Utah Jazz. Game 1 of that series will be on Sunday. We'll see what they have left. It's such an emotional, by NBA standards, it's not that quick a turnaround. It's not that far a flight, but emotionally, with what they've gone through to just land this spot, it'll be interesting to see what they have for the Jazz in Game 1.
Yeah, Isiah alluded to this earlier. Young players have this sense of not knowing. And when they have some success, that becomes the reality. You have the first 3 years of an NBA player's career to define who he is in confidence and role and as far as aggression offensively. Defense comes later, and they kind of ahead of the curve. So, they're the team of the have-nots. They expect to not be rooted for, and they come in here and they play with an edge, and the grit and grind is back alive.
Memphis was the deeper team tonight as well. Golden State only played 8 players, and from the Memphis bench, Bane, Xavier Tillman hit huge shots down the stretch. Grayson Allen knocked down 4 of their 15 threes off the bench as well, and that was certainly, if you can speak. That's okay, it happens.
But I would say
that was certainly a factor as well.
Yeah, and
you know what? I'm going to interrupt you because Steve Kerr just sat down. We're going to go to him. We'll get you a lozenge.
Thank you,
and
Steve.
You can collect your